climate champions. Welcome to another episode of the Climate Network. Today's guest is not just a cinematographer or a filmmaker. He dons multiple hats at any given point of time. He started his journey as a journalist and stumbled upon climate change, and in the process ended up earning multiple laurels and awards worldwide on the way. The very humble filmmaker Snehasis Das. Welcome, Snehasis sir. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us. Would you please be kind enough to introduce yourself?
First of all, thanks for having me. And yes, I started as a journalist, as an environmental journalist in Delhi with an environmental magazine. And my initial aim was to be a filmmaker when I was graduating from Odisha. So, but how to get into filmmaking? So that was a question during that time, because I belong to a middle class family. It's very difficult to think about a profession as a filmmaker. Thereafter, actually, in Delhi, I have done my journalism. Then I worked with that magazine called Down to Earth. Thereafter, started working with various filmmakers as a film freelancer. Initially, I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker. I'll tell you later about that. Then my career started like that. Then after some time, I found my own organization called The Naked Eye, and I'm working with this small unit, and I prefer to make mostly documentaries on environmental issues and other issues as well.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Could you tell us a little about Naked Eye before we go on?
I wanted to have my own organization. Then again, how to go about it? Someone told me organization doesn't mean it's a two-story building or 20 staffs with you. You can have your organization with a small room, one table, one chair, one telephone for the communication, and 2 files. And that gave me the courage. Yes, I can establish my organization. Then I registered the Naked Eye, and I started my office from a polythene bag. Actually, it's and I literally I wrote on top of it the Naked Eye office, that bag. That all this office goods like stapler, pin, and at that time we used to use floppy pen drive, whatever we have, because it was that time when I was struggling to get the work. It's a struggling period,
When
you can
was
say.
this? Which year?
It was in 2003, 2004, during that time. So there is no internet access at home during that. It was costly during that time. So you have to access the cyber cafe. And my budget was 10 rupees per day. So what I should do, I typed all the stuff I wanted to mail someone or I wanted to courier someone. Then I bring it all together with me to the cyber cafe. Then I, straight away get the printout and all, and then copy paste, then mail to
all.
Mail to all. Then I, packed everything, my packets and all. Then went to courier.
Portable office.
Portable office. Then I started like that. And now I have a small unit in Odisha and my partial base in Delhi as well.
What made you go to Delhi?
Yeah, actually, someone told me this is not your place, what you want to exactly do. Just come along with me in Delhi. And I landed in Delhi, and first I remember I went to Nalini Singh, the journalist, to work with her. But he gave me an assignment. It's a freelance assignment. I worked with her. And then I joined, I have applied for journalism courses with Jamia Millia and with Bharatiya Vidhan. I got with Bharatiya Vidhan. I had got admission over there. I completed the courses. After completing the courses, I got an opportunity to work with the Down to Earth magazine as a volunteer first. I then after working with them for 3 months, they decided to continue another 3 months with them. Thereafter, they observed me as a contractual basis. So for another year. So
this was 2001.
This is 2001, 2001, 2002, and that gave me basically the knowledge in the sense I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, and I must know about the subject, what should be the subject, how to handle it, because that period kind of a dilemmatic kind of period, because whether you want to become an environmental filmmaker, whether you want to become a wildlife filmmaker, it's always a question in mind. Then fortunately, I've joined there, and I was more into research, less into reporting over that. That gave me, and I have got an idea what exactly the environmental and developmental aspect is. There I've got the courage and to be a filmmaker. Then I started working with various filmmakers in Delhi. Then, as I said, I formed my organization, and from there is no look back actually.
The sky is the limit.
Yeah.
So, what was your first encounter with climate as a filmmaker?
I was working with an organization in Delhi. It's a television channel basically. They are producing developmental films. They're supposed to be, because I was there for a couple of months because the channel was shut down, and I was wondering that time what to do. Then fortunately, few guys were there with me. One person is Sajjad Basa. He's a Kashmiri guy, and I always wanted to make a film Kashmir basically. And the concept was with me. I was along with my one of friend. I have conceptualized that concept. It's basically on the environmental degradation of Dal Lake, how the insurgency impact on the lake basically. So then I don't have money because it's expensive business. So I asked that one of that friend, the Sajjad, how to go about it. He said like, आजा हम लोग देखते हैं. I will try out. Then I borrow 2,000 rupees from a friend, and I went to Kashmir. The little hassles, I was interrogated, and that is a other story. Then his sister, who is working with the J&K Bank, she helped us. Helped us with with a loan, small loan of 40,000 rupees. And after that, with that money, we've made that film called The Lake of Despair. That was because before that in Delhi, I always, went to India Habitat Center, India International Center to watch others' film, others' documentary. So I always like wondering when my film is going to be showcased here. But after making that film, screened those places numerous times. In Delhi circle, I was, people started recognizing me as a filmmaker after that film. An interesting story in that particular film is we were just there in the Lal Chowk market. I have just listened to a song. It's a Kashmiri song. Then my friend said, do you know what this song is all about? This is all about our film. What was the Kashmir, what it is now? I said, why can't we use this song in our film? He said, how many people use songs in documentaries? I said, it doesn't matter. This is our own film. We are not working for somebody else. We can experiment at a song in it. Then we found basically this song was sang by Samima Devajat.
Oh, wow.
She is basically Sir Ghulam Nabi Azad's wife. We initially thought he could be a local singer. We approached him and approach her and get the copyright. Then it was a kind of madness. Then I come back to Delhi. I somehow get her PA's number. I convince her. I went her place and get the copyright and use that song. So it was an interesting journey, and so that I can now I can able to tell this story. But at the end of it, it was a good film. People started recognizing me, and my journey basically starts from there only actually.
For listeners, Lake of Despair is available on YouTube on the channel The Naked Eye Films. Please check it out. You actually stumbled upon a jewel of a song, and a gem of a movie was made out of it. And please do check it out, is my advice to all the listeners. But if you see the movie, it's from the perspective of human beings, people who look at Dal Lake for their livelihood, for their living conditions, for their life. How did you enter into climate change through a humanitarian perspective? Because most of your movies have those lenses, the lens of the people on the ground, the ones who are impacted by any issue like the Dal Lake issue.
Now, as far as climate change is concerned, in Down to Earth magazine, that was my first encounter, like the subject of climate change. So I was also like, what exactly the climate change is. So everybody's talking about this is climate change, and what exactly the climate change is. Then I slowly and steadily I get to know about the subject of climate change. Then I started to follow the articles, debate, discussions over it, and people are talking about the wider perspective of climate change. Like slowly and steadily, when I encountered into it, I found like the about the people, those who are basically victimized. Nobody's talking about them. Supposedly, one natural disaster happened. Immediately, the risk group will be there, and they're supported by food and everything. It is nobody's never talk about their emotional and love life, because the person is who is staying resides by the sea, or like every year he victimized by a flood. So he always fighting for the livelihood. How to like what I should say, um, how to combat the situation basically. So, but nobody's talking about their emotional and love life. Like in cities, those are not directly victimized of the climate change. Like we have our own, we date people, we have Valentine's Day and everything. What about the young guys and all? So I normally while when I filming, I ask them to smile. They smile, but you'll get something left with that
It
smile.
doesn't reach their eye.
Doesn't is that high. So in that sense, I just like that's what that this is a kind of experiment also. In the time of crisis, you are talking about love and life, in relating to the climate change, how people are going to accept it. But I took the risk, and people realize also that this is also another aspect we need to address apart from the needs.
A tiny shout out to Kokali here, a film that specifically talks about sea level rising, and it's one of its kind. It has won multiple international awards and specifically three categories in International Film Festival in Mexico.
Yes, Kokoli. Why Kokoli? Actually, after making couple of documentaries on climate change, what I have realized, the documentary always restricted to intellectual masses. It's not reaching the community. Though it is reaching, the people are not, like, it's not easy to understand when you're making a documentary. So then I've realized, let's reach to the people with a storytelling process, so that people will, get to know about the story, and simultaneously you slowly inject the issues so that they will understand the issue. Now, that was a challenge, but I have experimented with couple of music videos, couple of short films. Then I've decided to make a feature film, that is Kokoli.
The best part about your documentaries, otherwise, is also that it is not preachy. Even Kokali is not preachy.
Yeah, but always, like, because in back of the mind, always to bring it a human angle to it, make it a storytelling process, and I think in that way also, and because I understand in that way, that is the reason. So in that way, Kokoli, I have conceived the idea of Kokoli to make a feature film, and the film is all about sea level rise, global warming, sea level rise, and how a fishing community is basically suffering from that. And it's a love story basically, how a love life is getting disturbed just because of the climate change impact. That is all about it. And again, this is how can you tell a love story through the climate change? And I've experimented, and people accept it, liked it, and fortunately, that has got numerous international recognition, and University of Sussex also invited me for a special screening over there. And yes, like even also like Reuters Foundation, they have covered a big cover story on the Kokali, because according to them, this is the only climate change film completely made on climate change film. I asked them, why are you making a story? It's a regional ODI cinema. It's a, like, for in that time they said it's a complete film on climate change. Still in India, nobody attempted such issues, neither in Bollywood nor in Hollywood as well. In complete cinema, they are looking into. The Kukulis is such kind of cinema. That's why they covered a big story.
How was your experience when you went around the globe talking about Kokoli, being in categories of climate? How were your other contemporaries? What were the stories that we're looking at? Was it similar in nature? Was it different in nature?
No, it's not exactly similar in nature. They always, in outside they addressed, in a broader perspective of climate change. I addressed always in a grassroots perspective of climate change. What is the impact? I always work on the impact and adaptation. They always like their film is always normally on the broader sense of climate change. That exactly I found. Just because of that, when I pitch my film over there, I've screened my film there, they found it very interesting. This is another aspect of climate change, how people are suffering, how people think about that. Because normally we never ask them, we impose them. The people, we impose them, they look, this is happening, you have to do like this. We never ask them what to do, because their experience also counts. I always try to bring that aspect.
You mentioned the word victim. You're one of the few people who has called people on the impact, where the communities that are being impacted, you refer to them as victim. People or the world refers to them as survivors. It is very interesting the perspective that you're bringing, that is actually they are the first line of victims to begin with. What was your experience living in these communities and covering these communities while you were making your films?
Look, as I said earlier, like I've encountered the subject of climate change in the year of 2001. And during that time, if you go to a place where the people are, the survivor, you can say, the victimized. So if you ask them about climate change, they cannot tell you this is because what they'll ask you what is climate change.
Yes.
But they can tell you their story. Tell you the story because it was the climatic, scenario wasn't like this before. Now this has changed, and that is climate change.
Correct.
But they don't tell you because they have experienced through their livelihood process. Or like if a fisherman, if you asking to a fisherman, he said normally we'll get more tides these days. Otherwise, it's a full moon night, or it's a specific time, like we'll get the tides. These days they are getting frequent tides. So now, being a like a intellectual or a wiser person, you can relate to that to climate change. They don't know what this is because of the climate change. That is why I call them victim, because they suddenly they found these changes. So why it is happening? How to go about it, how to like rescue their livelihood again.
And you covered that in Hoslana.
Hosla na Ruthe, yes. Like Hosla na Ruthe, now it was the migration was there earlier also. Not because after the climate change buzz is come, it was there because the pattern of that is the interesting thing. That was always there, but we haven't addressed earlier. It is because if you go those Kontabanji and western part of Odisha, migration was there because they face drought every year. The frequency of drought has been increased. Supposedly in 2000, we have found the climate changes. Yes, the climate change is happening, but before it was there.
Of
But
course.
but we haven't addressed.
Correct. We just did not recognize the terminologies either.
Exactly.
There we use climate adaptation, mitigation,
Yes,
resilience, all these words.
exactly.
But they've been doing it forever.
They're doing it forever, but off late
It has increased.
it has increased.
And what is funny is you have droughts and floods in the same place, in the same
Yes.
locations, and they don't understand why that is happening, but they know that this year my crop is not going to be there because of floods or heavy rainfall. Next year I might have drought. So they understand these concepts, but I'm pretty sure that the words I just used would be alien to the community. So how do we do knowledge dissemination there?
Yeah, one of my documentary is Road Back Home. In the beginning, if you see someone saying, one farmer is saying, and he's quoting, ବର୍ଷା ହେଲେ ବି ମଡ଼ି ଆସୁଛି, ବର୍ଷା ନହେଲେ ବି ମଡ଼ି ଆସୁଛି. If it is raining, there is a drought. If it is not raining, there is a drought. So you have to understand
Wow.
why he's telling that. So these days, there's a rain called flash flood.
Yes.
This is not the normal pattern of rain the farmers are getting. The periodical rain, like I
Right.
said, which period they have to
The floods in May, June.
floods in May, in June, like the September we are getting hot
Yes.
till, right? So the pattern has been changed. So because to understand the changing pattern for that particular farmer, those or a fisherman, it's very it took time. Like they don't understand why it is happening basically. Because earlier, like you cannot teach a farmer how to manage water, and you cannot teach a tribal or a person who is residing in a forest how to take care of a tree. The thing is lacking over here is we are not taking the grassroots knowledge. We are not talking to them. We just try to impose our thing, like this is we have to do, this is we have to come back to the situation. For an example, you must have heard about the painter, where the sea label they have made, the World Bank projects, a sea wall they have made over there with the stone and the tubes and the nets. It's a failure. Crores of rupees is a failure. When I was filming over there, a villager told me they never asked and talked with us. Like, what kind of thing is required here? They never saw the height of tide in the full moon night. Do you think the stone and steves are going to protect all this wave?
Trying to control nature.
Exactly. So you have to
Have dialogues with the community.
dialogue with the community. You have to accumulate all their knowledges. Then only you'll find a better way.
You're actually talking about policy and stakeholders, that government should listen to these people. The laws are being made for them without actually listening to what the problems are in real life.
No, practically, I have made those people. That's why I'm telling you, because I haven't read much about the climate change from a book or somewhere else. What I am talking about, my experience.
Absolutely,
basically.
absolutely. Like if someone like you can spend so much time and energy understanding the plight, shouldn't the ones who are actually implementing all these new projects be listening to them? So in that case, if they don't listen to community, what happens to the community?
Look, community, they have lost their primary livelihood resources.
Correct.
Okay. So to live life, to get their livelihood, what they should do? They
Look for
don't have
greener
alternate
pastures.
livelihood resources in that particular place. So they have to migrate. So when they migrate, that is so many challenges in migrate. We are not going to
Get into
get through it. So my point is, then they try to find out their own thing. When someone is migrating, if the main member of the family is migrating, living behind with other family members, and they both of them like getting the problems, or else they're migrating with the family. When they're migrating with the family, there is no education for their children. The wife has to work, the man has to work. Then after a couple of years, what is the future of their children? So we have to find a way to the both. Off late, you must be heard about Brooklyn area, when they're going to migrating, they started schooling, Anganwadi kind of stuff. But that is not the permanent solutions. So I have done a small film called A Road Back Home. What they did, because they have experienced the migration. After coming back, when the local NGO guide them how to get the water from the highland area by making manual check dams. By making manual check dams, they not only they managed to bring water to the paddy land, they managed to recharge the peripheral landed. And that is a successful
Wow.
project. In a small area, you can adapt that. And a family adapt that and they success. They don't need a lot of money to live their life. They want to be fulfill their stomach and little thing to fulfill that criteria. Then they send their children to schools and they have they have their own kitchen garden. They are cultivating agriculture. They survived. So that small initiative can be multiply to a community level to a larger sector, and you can get so many other way to. Otherwise, getting alternate life, giving alternate livelihood is very difficult.
Right.
You cannot give a pawn shop to a farmer.
Farmer.
It's very difficult. He's not going to satisfy himself. You are not living life only to live life.
Correct.
Because in urban areas we choose our liked area, professional field to this thing. There is a mind also, no. It's not about eat food and die.
Correct.
It's
have
it's
to
about
live.
live a life for a period of time. So you have to think in that way.
And where was this that you saw the dams and?
It's in Bargarh district of Odisha.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's in Bargarh district of Odisha. That is the reason that, because this is one such example, that film has also got recognized worldwide. Even in Amir Khan's Satyamev Jayata, they have also screened this film.
This is so amazing, and you're just casually mentioning it in passing. I have to tell you, I love your Ghar Jana Hai specifically, where the person is leaving his family, his wife, his new wife, young wife, and the entire time he's nostalgic for home. And the impact it had, the migration of the main male bread earner of the family, how the old parents are waiting, how the wife is waiting. You also spoke about having anganwadis and schools for these people when they migrate with their families, but it's a language barrier also.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. It's language barrier also.
You don't have schools in the language of the migrants. It is basically the language that is spoken in that area.
That area.
So kids grow up not understanding their own language or their own state.
It's not about the language. It's about the language. They're losing their culture. They're losing their lifestyle. Everything. You are basically taking out of
Fish out of water.
From their comfort zone area. That means by compulsion you have to live a life. I don't think like if you and me putting into that situation will survive.
I don't think we'll survive.
Yeah.
This is survival against nature every single day.
True.
And when you're busy surviving against nature every single day, do you live a life? So your perspectives, all the movies that you have done, gives us a different lens altogether. When you speak about ideologies, you're looking through it through your camera lens. And there's a beautiful movie also that you have made through your camera lens.
Yes, that's the reason my organization name is The Naked Eye.
Oh, can you explain why?
You've just explained that, no? Through the lenses, what exactly we are seeing, we are capturing that. It's from the naked eye.
Correct.
So we are capturing the fact, truth. That is the
Without a camera lens or with the camera
with
lens?
the camera lens. That's why the eye is basically the lens.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very interesting. I thought you're basically taking out the camera from in front of you.
No.
Oh, wow. What a take. What a take on eye. In fact, your 1 minute documentary is one of my favorites. It's called A Silent Noise, where you're not just using your eyes, but you're using your ears. And I believe that you should be using all your senses to look at climate change. But what has been
Absolutely. That is the reason I have made this film, because now time has come. Like time has come to blaming each other. The in school curriculum also, like they have introduced the subject of climate change.
Correct.
So it's not about that. You have to tell me to act on it. You should hear the noise, Nat. Don't let it go silent. You just hear it and act on it.
Wow. On that note, thank you so much, sir, for giving us your precious time. I love all your movies and documentaries, and I recommend that everybody listening today should go and check out their YouTube handle, which is called The Naked Eye Films, and check all the topics and titles that we discussed today and more. We also have a compilation of Snehasis Das's films and documentaries on the website theclimatenetwork.io. Please do check out the website. Until next time, this is Deepsha, and I'll see you on the other side.